As June had left with a deceitful promise, the promise of the return of a lost father, Robin sat with averted eyes, still hopeful at the end of July. It had been 1,278 days, 2 hours and 35 seconds since Robin's father had left. But before we gather moisture in our eyes, I shall fill you in on some details and how we've ended up here. Don't worry, good things come to those who wait, is what they all say. I'm not sure whether that's actually true, but either way, you're invited. All questions shall be answered. Swiftly make your way through and keep your shoes outside. We will be having a civilized conversation. Well, I'm the only one who shall be speaking, so a civilized monologue, if you will. Alright, let's begin. Our lives are strung together within days, months, and years. But have you ever wondered how these things actually operate? There are 3 important organizations that run the world. Fate Inc., an organization that creates the events in the timeline. Every decision made by this organization has a calculated reason that must not be questioned. And even if you spend an eternity questioning it, there's nothing that will alter or change the final decision. Tick-Tock Co., another vital organization that deals with the creation of the timeline of the world. They work hand in hand with Fate Inc. One cannot survive without the other. And lastly, the annual headquarters. This massive organization manages the timeline and the events that must be carried out in it. Fate Inc. and Tick-Tock Co. send approved documented work to the annual headquarters. The annual headquarters ensure that the work and operations sent to them by the other 2 organizations are carried out successfully by appointing each month of the year as designated employees or officers, each officer responsible for their particular month. With the help of these 3 organizations, the world runs smoothly. An average day at the annual headquarters was quite slow, but that was not the case for young and enthusiastic Mr. July, who always arrived an hour early to get some peace and quiet before an inevitably hectic workday. Today, however, his early arrival was more relevant than ever. After all, it was his turn to be the on-ground officer for this month. His month. He stands by the calendar and wears a smile dipped in pride. But the show hadn't begun just yet. The rest of his routine went as follows. He collects the newspaper, aligns all the paperwork, letters, and stationery in the correct way. His way. Waters his one plant, pours his well-needed coffee, kicks his feet up, and reads the newspaper. After his refreshing solitary hour was up, Mr. July takes his briefcase out, gathers his things, ready to serve his duties as an on-ground officer. Now, you must be wondering, what are the duties of an on-ground officer? Since you are so painfully uninformed and unprepared, I shall tell you. As a matter of fact, I will use Mr. July's incredible performance from last year to explain. Number 1. The on-ground officers are stationed at random, isolated places to maintain secrecy and confidentiality in their operations. If on an unfortunate occasion an on-ground officer gets noticed, they must disappear immediately and let the humans think they're stupid. Number 2. They must ensure all operations and events drawn up by the Fate Inc. and Tick-Tock Co. are carried out successfully without any obstacles or interferences. This is done with the help of on-site observational trips. After concluding their observational trips, the officer must send reports back to the headquarters. Number 3. At the end of their month, each on-ground officer is appointed a special on-site case to be worked on. The case involves a request. These requests are sent by thousands of applicants, but only one lucky subject gets selected. The on-ground officer must study the applicant's files and determine whether or not their request would be granted. If a granted request messes up the timeline, the officer must face the wrath of Lieutenant Destiny. In simple words, the officer must not try to challenge fate or give the subjects any sense of hope. Number 4. To never get attached to any of these subjects. Mr. July had a record of breaking bad news to his subjects. He never hesitated nor felt sad about denying a request. He knew he was simply doing his job and that this just happened to be the ugly part of it. It simply had to be done. Robin had ended up sending requests every day without fail. And I mean every single day. But the poor kid never seemed to get lucky until this very morning. Looks like good old Robin had finally gotten lucky. Everyone at headquarters had received multiple letters from her. She always ended these letters with a sincere request, the return of her father. Her mother had tragically passed away when she was just a kid. Her father became her only family. As a kid, Robin often spent her time playing alone or drawing. She'd ask her father, but he never seemed to be interested. She would always walk away with a heavy heart. After her mother's unfortunate passing and her father losing his job, they moved to a different house. A house Robin struggled to call home. To make matters worse, she felt her father become more and more distant. Sometimes he would not even respond. Robin preferred her father's yelling over his silence. One day, as Robin sat reading, her father left for his new job. Robin continued to read, oblivious to the fact that he was never going to come back home. After her father's disappearance, Robin felt as if she had no family left. Even though her relatives were around, she still felt as if she had no one's company except for her books. With each book, she transformed into a character in hundreds of different stories. Robin, now 20, continues to wait for her father. As part of her morning routine, she wakes up, opens the door, fetches the milk carton, brushes her teeth, checks the mailbox, heads back inside, changes her clothes, fixes her hair, because the only advice Robin recalls from her mother is to always remember to be kind and to always have tidy hair. Then she proceeds to write yet another letter to the headquarters. Heads over to the window and sits there like she is right now. She imagines that the leaves put on a special performance just for her, and so do the birds with their chirping. She also wonders whether the birds happen to ever take a flight above her father. This thought lingers in her mind all day. Uh-oh, indeed. Robin's melancholy story had pierced right through Mr. July's tough heart. But it was time to do the ugly part of his job. Robin greets Mr. July and invites the fella in. Mr. July stood with a monotonous face, struggling to pick his feet up. Finally, the man gives in. Robin presents a bunch of queries to Mr. July. An overwhelmed Mr. July sat mute. Robin prepares the tea and even serves the hidden delicate biscuits reserved only for special occasions and guests. Mr. July, on the other side of the wall, lays his eyes on what seemed like memoirs laid out on the table, a remembrance of Robin's time with her dearly missed father, each item without a span of dust. Within what felt like seconds, Mr. July had been done with his cup of tea and lets out his first set of words. Mr. July couldn't gather the strength to tell Robin that her father would rather remain lost than find his way back home. The two of them sat in a shared bubble of uncomfortable silence. Mr. July may look like the poster child for machoism, but he was in fact soft at heart. Mr. July apologizes yet again as he gets up to leave with a broken heart. She's here, Miss August. A truly rare sight. A heartbroken and helpless Mr. July. It seemed like Mr. July wasn't the only one feeling miserable and hopeless. A whole month had passed. Robin hadn't been dealing well with the awful news either. Most of September was spent moping around with grief being an uninvited guest, day after day. Different corners of the room heard a different cry each time. Miss October even tried to cheer Robin up by sending a cute photo of a baby elephant, but the adorable idea didn't seem to work any wonders either. Another month had passed, and Mr. July finally caves in and decides to pen a letter to Miss November, asking for a particular favor. Oh, looks like Miss November has something up her sleeve. On the other hand, Robin has somehow managed to gather some strength to get up and pour herself a cup of black coffee. I'm assuming that's how she feels on the inside. Bitter. She takes a sip and notices the stuff on the table that hadn't been touched ever since Mr. July's notoriously upsetting visit. Enough of this, Robin thinks to herself as she decides to take another one of her naps. As it turns out, it wasn't any ordinary nap. She wakes up and sees that she had transformed into one of her puppets. The confusion is interrupted by someone.
Hello, Robin. Hi? How do you know my name? Oh, I know everything, darling. I'm November from headquarters.
Oh, are you? Am I dreaming?
Yes,
And you can enter my dreams?
I can do whatever I want.
So, why are you here?
To have a conversation with you, of course.
Oh, that was not as obvious as you think it was. A conversation about what?
About how you're holding up.
Oh,
So
what?
So how are you holding up?
It's hard to tell. I've been dealing with a lot.
You know you're quite famous back at headquarters.
Really? Why?
Because of the amount of letters you have sent.
Sorry about that.
What are you sorry for? It was actually quite remarkable and sweet.
Well, I'm glad my letters amused you all. But as it turns out, it was all for nothing. It was all a waste.
Robin, look at me. No love given is ever wasted. Always remember that. Your constant letters were an act of your profound love for your father. You not giving up was an act of love. Life will present you with a bundle of moments where you will either easily get what you want or it will make you work hard for it. And sometimes, even all that hard work counts for nothing. So what do? You fall, get up, dust yourself off, and try again. Love was never meant to be easy, darling. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so special, now would it? Keep your head high, kiddo. All that wonderful love you give for free, it will find its way back to you. It's time for you to go back, drink some better coffee, and take a shower maybe.
Miss November,
Yes, love?
why are you reading here?
Let's just say my very presence here was an act of love from someone who deeply cares about you.
Tell him I said hi.
Will do.
A year later, Mr. July receives a letter from Robin. It reads as follows. Dearest Mr. July, I am doing well and hope that you are too. I won't take much of your time. It's been a difficult year since your visit. It was hard to accept that Dad had left, and even more difficult to accept that he is probably never going to come back. I just needed you to know that I don't stand by the door anymore, but I haven't shut it completely. Hope is the one thing that makes me who I am, and I will hold on to it until I pass away. I just thought you and your colleagues at the headquarters should know that I am running out of space for heartbreak. So please, be kind, or at least get me a sweet candy on one of your next visits. Sincerely, Robin.